Welcome to the latest devlog of my game Wormhole Adventurer. Wormhole Adventurer started out life in Ludum Dare 48, where I created a much simpler version of the game, and is what is shown now. This was created in around 16 hours, and the feedback I received convinced me to make it into a full game with a view to selling it on Steam later this year. During my last devlog, I showcased some of the major updates that included the ship UI, the player station rebuild, the map, and the hostile ships. If you missed that devlog, then check below for a link to the playlist. Let's talk about what I've been up to since the last devlog. This month's work was mostly focused around the audio in the game. I started off with the alert sounds, and recorded my own voice and added some effects in Audacity. I'm still not 100% sure that I'm happy with them, so I will play them now, and then please comment below to let me know if you like them or not. I won't be offended at all, as I really don't like the sound of my recorded voice, but then most people I've spoken to about this say they don't like to hear their voice recorded either, so maybe it isn't just me.
Red alert. Fuel down to 50%. Ship structure down to 50%.
Next on my list was the engine sounds, and after quite some time of playing around in Bosca CL and not being happy with anything I created, I resorted to looking on the Unity asset store for an asset pack that I could use, and came across Sci-Fi Sounds by Forge 3D, which contains 494 royalty-free clips and has been used on a lot of the sound effects in the game. I've included a link below to the asset pack. These are the ones I have chosen for the engines. You will notice the subtle change when the ship moves and turns. After the engine sounds, I turned my attention to the mining. This one proved a bit more tricky, as the mining cycle time changes depending on what laser you have installed in your ship. After a little time playing around, I settled on having 3 sounds play. The first is the mining laser firing. Second is the sound of the laser running for the duration of the mining cycle. And then the last one is the sound of some rocks breaking up.
Yellow alert.
You will notice here that I also added a new minigame to play while mining. This was in fact done after all the audio, but I will mention it here as it's on the screen. The idea is if that you play the minigame, then you will have a chance to get some bonus ore. But if you choose not to play, you will still get the ore your mining laser would get anyway. This gives the player the choice to play the game for bonuses or AFK mine. I am considering reducing all the mining cycle times a little more to speed things up. A few viewers over on my Twitch stream have suggested making the mining of asteroids instant rather than having multiple cycles to deplete an asteroid. I would be interested to hear your views in the comments below. The last of the main sounds was the docking and undocking at stations. These again came from the Sci-Fi sound pack. I wanted this one to sound like a door opening and closing when you dock your ship. After this, the other sounds were more subtle ones, like button clicks, purchasing, selling, and warning sounds.
Red alert.
I got done with the audio update sooner than planned, so I started to work on redoing the tutorial as it was out of date, didn't account for the new UI, and wasn't very detailed. Now it will guide the player on how to do all the basics in a custom tutorial universe. After the tutorial, I started reworking the ship's heads-up display so that I can display the required resources for the current build phase for the player station when not there. as I have found when I save and come back the next day, I can't recall what I needed. I played around with having a second heads-up display to the left or right of the main console, but I couldn't make it look right, so I've settled on using the existing heads-up display and having some extra buttons along the bottom to choose which window you want open. The buttons on the console will be reworked. The right one will be a main power button that will save and take you back to the main menu. One on the left will be to toggle the heads-up display. I hope to share this more in next month's devlog, as I haven't completed this yet, and it will be the first thing to finish in March. After that, I plan to work on the player ships and finally add the ability to buy a new hull with a different module configuration. This will allow for a hull to specialise in combat or mining. Just before I wrap up this devlog, I would like to take a moment to show you my other game called Woodroots. This is available for free on the Google Play Store. The link will be below. In this game, you race against the clock to find as many words as possible. Your score is calculated on how many letters each word contains. There is a daily, weekly and all-time leaderboard to compete on. I would like to thank you all for watching, and if you've enjoyed the video, then please don't forget to like and subscribe, and consider leaving a comment below to help the video get seen.